Hey guys, and welcome back to FTC Motors and Servos. Before I start, I wanted to clarify something from my last video. In the last video, I talked about the four most popular spur gear motors, including the GoBuilda 5201 spur motor, and it has been brought to my attention that GoBuilda recently discontinued that motor. And now back to this video. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the Orbital motors used by FTC teams, in addition to talking briefly about core hex motors. There are two popular 37mm orbital gear motors, the Rev HD Hex orbital motor and the Andymark Neverest orbital motor. There's also one popular 32mm orbital motor, and that is the GoBuilda Yellow Jacket motor. The Rev HD Hex motor has a diameter of 37mm and a standard orbital face mounting pattern. The only gearbox option available is the 20:1 gearbox, and the motor has a 5mm hex output shaft, and connectors for power cables and encoder cables are on the back of it. The second motor I'm going to talk about is Andymark Neverest orbital motor. The motor also has a 37mm diameter, and 19.2:1 and 3.7:1 gearbox options are available. The motor has a 6mm D output shaft and attached power cables on the back. The only 32mm orbital motor I'm going to talk about is the GoBuilda Yellow Jacket motor. The motor has a 6mm D output shaft, and there are many gearbox options, and they range from 1/88:1 to 3.7:1. The length of the gearbox varies based on the gear ratio. So the longest gearbox is the 1/88:1 gearbox, and the shortest is the 3.7:1. The motor also has an attached power cable on the back. As mentioned in the previous video, encoder cables don't come with GoBuilda motors, so you're going to need to purchase them separately if you want to use the encoders. The final motor I'm going to talk about is the core hex motor. Its mounting is different than all the other motors covered, as it has a 16mm hole mounting pattern. It has a 5mm hex output shaft, and you get to insert your own shaft in the motor. The core hex motor is about half the weight of all the other motors covered, but it's also much weaker. The motor has connectors for power and encoder cables on the back of it. And now for some quick tips. First of all, it is not wise to use core hex motors in parts like your drivetrain or your intake system, as they easily break under shock. Whenever you see a motor called Orbital 20:1 gear motor, most of the time the actual gear ratio is 19.2:1 and not 20:1. The GoBuilda Yellow Jackets have an M4 mounting pattern, and all the other motors covered, with the exception of the core hex motor, have an M3 mounting pattern. Whenever you see a motor called an orbital motor, it uses a planetary gearbox. And finally, if you rank the motors based on strength, planetary or orbital motors are the strongest, then comes spur gear motors, and then the core hex motors. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.